Most people will see the title of this video and think, damn, 99% of people are gonna fail. Well, then why should I even try, right? Most likely I will fail. And if that's what you think, then you're right. And you shouldn't try because you will lose a lot of money and you will fail. But if on the other hand, you see the title and you realize that yes, 99% of people will fail, but I can be the 1% who succeeds, you're in the right place. So let me give you the top reasons why people fail. Over the last 4 years, I've mentored thousands of students, and these are the most recurring reasons why people do not succeed. And before we do dive in, I want to make sure that you understand this is not like one of those Amazon FBA mistake videos that you see online where they say don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. That's kind of like a top mistake people make. And I think that that's like telling someone who's depressed, don't be depressed, just be happy. It doesn't really help anyone, and I think there's almost no value there. But what I'm going to show you here is some of the top reasons I've noticed that people make mistakes. And also, maybe if you haven't made these mistakes yet, it's something that a lot of people will either make in the future or are very, very prone to making without even realizing. And these 10 things are in no particular order, but I think number 6 and number 7 is something that will open a lot of eyes for a lot of people. So let's start off with number 1. And this is probably the cardinal sin of any business, is that people underestimate how much work it really takes. Just because people show off their stuff on YouTube or on TikTok or on Instagram, how much money they make and all this kind of stuff, people really underestimate the amount of work that something like this takes. If you have an hour a day to commit to your business, you're not going to succeed. It's just impossible. That doesn't mean that if you have a 9 to 5, you can't start a business on the side, but you need to realize that everything is proportional to the amount of work you put into it. And I think that a lot of people underestimate the amount of work that's needed to get this business going, get it started, get the momentum going, and then also the amount of effort it takes to continue to grow it into the future. That's number 1. It really is quite a decent amount of work. Number 2 is looking for products that just make money, rather than looking for something that you're either knowledgeable in, so have some sort of unfair advantage in, or something that you at least care about to the point where you don't have to be passionate about it. It doesn't have to be a hobby of yours, and probably shouldn't be a hobby of yours, but something that you are interested in continuing to grow, develop, and understand. Because that way, 1, you understand more about it, you have an unfair advantage to everybody else. And 2, when things get rough in a business, which they will, no matter what, they will get rough, and you will have your back against the wall at times, it's really the difference between giving up and being able to push through it because you truly believe in what you're doing. And I think that's the secret weapon that a lot of people forget about, and when they focus just about making money in products that just profit. When things get rough and your product stops profiting, which it will at some point, or some sort of roadblock will happen, I think that's the factor between giving up and continuing to push forward. Number 3, and this is something that I myself made in the last year alone, is to focus purely on an Amazon FBA business. I'm telling you right now, if you think you're gonna come into this industry and start just an Amazon FBA business, you are so wrong, so mistaken. I mean, you're literally setting yourself up for massive failure. And I've documented my journey. You've seen the stuff that has happened. Now, that does not mean that you should not start on Amazon. Out of every single business model out there, Amazon is the only place I would ever start in an e-commerce business. Start on Amazon, grow on Amazon, learn organic marketing, and then, as well as some paid ads as well. And then learn how to create value and take that off of Amazon. Once you start making $5,000, $10,000 a month, reinvest that into whatever Amazon stuff you need to do. Launch your products on Amazon, test them on Amazon first. As soon as they've proven some demand and have some money coming in every month, take that money and reinvest it to your own platform, your own traffic sources, and making sure that you can completely supplement yourself on your own website, where you own the customer journey and have the emails of your own customers. A way where you can cross-sell, upsell, and really promote and grow a relationship with your customers. And that might be one of the top reasons why people fail, is when Amazon shuts you down, there's really nothing you can do. Number 4, quite obvious one, but one that no matter what, as a beginner, people continuously and over and over and over again fall for. And it's trying to cash in on fads and trends. For example, the fidget spinner craze, or most recently, the COVID-19 craze and the masks and PPE equipment and all sorts of crap. And I remember talking to my students, and I remember talking to people specifically, people messaging me who weren't even my students. And I said, guys, just trust me. This is going to be a fad, like in terms of this isn't going to make you rich. Yes, this will make some people rich and they will make some money, but again, that's going to be short-lived. The problem is though, that 99.999% of people will not get rich doing this, will get stuck with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in inventory, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory. Because if you think you're so smart, what about the big dogs out there? And I'm not talking about Amazon big dogs. I'm talking about like the real, giant multi-billion-dollar companies. You think you're really going to compete with them on something like PPE, And so over and over again, that's just something that people continuously make mistakes with. And it's sad to see because the writing is so easily seen on the wall. It's so easily right in front of your face, but you're clouded by the get rich quick. If you try to cash in on fads, you're gonna get burnt. And number 5 biggest mistake, I think, is people going at it alone. What I mean by that is, when I was getting started on Amazon, I was actually during exam season, in university of my 3rd year. And I didn't really have the friends or family. I had one friend who was doing this as well, but like in terms of like family and all my other friends, no one really understood what I was going through. No one really understood what I was trying to do. And if anything, my parents thought I was completely brainwashed to even try something like this. They literally, I remember having like conversations with them, all this stuff, and they said, you need to just stop all this stuff and focus on your school, get your degree, and like stop with all this bullshit, right? And I remember thinking like feeling very alone, feeling like, okay, am I actually doing something wrong? Like, should I be focusing on something else rather than on, trying to build out my dream, trying to grow something, awesome and doing something for myself and for my future family. And I know how it feels and how it felt when, you try to start a business and it feels like everyone's against you. And I don't think they're against you because they want you to, fail, but they just want you to make sure that in their eyes, they see you as successful, because of course it's hard to start a business. It's going to take a lot of work and not everyone will succeed. And, I think that most people, rather than trying to help to make you better and to grow you, they try to stop you from feeling failure, and going through failure, which I think is very important to go through failure to ever see success. But everyone's scared of failure. So I think that it's really important to do this with people who have at least some sort of like-mindedness, to you. So in that case, just a small plug, I'll leave a link in the description to our free Facebook group, completely free, but a lot of people in there who help each other out. I'm, trying to be as active as I can in there as well, and I, continue to try to be better in there too. And tag me in there. I'll try to answer and make sure that if you have any questions, stuff like that, I want to make sure that people feel at home, welcome, and have all the resources that they need in that group. So. Join, and again, it doesn't have to be our group, it can be anything. Join some sort of group where people and entrepreneurs talk and grow together. It's important to not do this on your own. Number 6, people looking to outsource work, before they know how to do it themselves. For example, let's assume you are just launching a product on Amazon and your PPC stuff isn't working too great. So you say, you know what, I'm going to hire a PPC expert to help me out to do my PPC for me. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this old song and dance and how many times people have come back to me and said, yep, you were right. I shouldn't have hired that person. I end up spending, $1,000, $500, $2,000 a month to have someone do my PPC for me. Not only did they not fix my PPC, but also, they cost me a bunch of money. And the reality of that is because one, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to properly interview someone to see if they know what they're doing. So you just end up getting PPC done by some dude on Fiverr who says he knows how to do PPC, And so you can never outsource something that you yourself don't know how to do. And I'm not saying that in the future that's not going to happen. Sure, in the future that can happen when you're, let's say operationally, you can't do certain things. Yeah, you hire for those roles, but when you're starting at first and you don't have the money and you have the time, because most people are time rich and money poor, right? So if you're in that situation, spend the time to learn the basics, the fundamentals. I'm not telling you to become a PPC whiz, but understand what you're doing, understand how to optimize, understand how to bring your A cost down. And that goes for anything, that goes for anything in your business. If you have a problem, you can't just outsource it if you yourself don't know what you're doing. Now, number 7, and I think this may be one of the most critical skills that an entrepreneur can have. A lot of people fail because they don't know how to just figure it out. And I say just figure it out, meaning if you have any problem, go and figure it out. Don't just come running to someone and be like, the first problem you get, you go running to someone and be like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do I do that? You know, you have to learn the skill of what I call is just figure it out. For example, I had a problem with my Google ads recently. There was, or my Google Analytics. It wasn't tracking properly, something wasn't working well, and something wasn't right. And what do? The first thing I go is either first one, give up, or two, go and cry and try to figure out who can help me, who can do that. It's like, no. Sit down on your computer. You have the entire internet. You have the entire world's knowledge in front of you. I guarantee you someone has ran into the same exact problem you had, and has, not only this that, but has posted about it, has helped someone, has figured this out before you. Go online and figure it out. Figure out how to fix it. I think that a lot of people, when this happens, they just give up, or they go running to someone to ask for help. It's like everything's in front of you. And I think that's one of the most important skills as an entrepreneur. One of the biggest things that I do in my business is I just put out fires. I think Gary Vee said the same thing. He's like, when someone asked him, maybe it wasn't Gary Vee, but whatever, someone asked him, like, okay, what job? Like, what's your job? What do you do? He said, I'm a firefighter. He's like, all I do is in my business, I put out fires. And that's what you need to learn how to do. Learn how to just figure it out. And that might sound a little harsh, but that doesn't mean you can't ask for help. That doesn't mean you can't get help from people. It just means that you need to try how to do it first yourself. And then when you're really tapped out, look for others to help you. All right, so number 8, not ordering enough inventory for your first order on Amazon. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't want to order too much inventory for very understandable reasons. You don't want to have too much inventory for a product that you're testing, initially. However, the main issue that happens with that is when you do order a small amount of inventory and you sell out of that inventory, Amazon is incredibly unforgiving about this. So I've seen countless people, not necessarily cheap out, but maybe don't have enough budget to, have more, inventory. And they end up ordering, let's say 150, 200, 300 units. Stuff sells out super quickly. They're super happy. They reorder a new batch of inventory. Maybe this time they order 1,000, because 300 was too little. And when the 1,000 comes in 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks later, the product has no demand and is completely dead, does not re-rank, is just essentially a dead product. And I've seen that happen countless of times. And I always say, number one rule on Amazon right now in 2022, 2023, do not run out of stock. So it's actually smarter to take a quote unquote bigger risk, at first with 500, 750, 1,000 units, and bring that into Amazon. And if it does sell, start to sell, well, you don't have a limit of 300, maybe you have 600 or 700 units. And so with those 700 units, you'll have the appropriate amount of time to reorder your new batch of inventory. And when it comes in, you will be able to transition properly without running out of stock. Whereas if you order, 200, 300 units, that stuff runs out of stock, you buy another 1,000, those 1,000 come in and you've been out of stock for a while, that's not gonna sell. And then you're actually stuck with more inventory than you would have been, in the worst case scenario in the first situation. For example, if you ordered 700 and they didn't sell, you'd have 700 units you'd have to kind of worry about selling through. Whereas this other option that most people go by is now with the reorder, you're stuck with 1,000 units. So most of the time, order more than you think you need, for your first order, just in case things go well, so that you can continue to ride and grow your business. Number 9, which is not having enough capital to actually start and grow your business. Because the truth is, Amazon is a business that doesn't require, let's say, comparatively a lot of startup capital, especially when you compare it to like a restaurant or some brick and mortar store where you need, tens of thousands of dollars to get it off the ground and then thousands of dollars a month in rent, employees, etc., to be able to keep that, afloat. An Amazon business, maybe only needs $5,000 or $10,000 to get that started. And a lot of people still try to kind of squeak their way in with even less money than that. And I think in 2022, 2023, it's just going to be, incredibly difficult to make that work, especially with all the things you need to do nowadays to really get your product going. I think to be safe, you need a minimum of $5,000 in capital and, ideally between $5,000 and $10,000 to really, first of all, make a dent and then to be able to afford to grow your business. Now, lastly, number 10, and I've done this before in the past and it worked super well. So number 10 is actually me wanting to hear from your top mistakes, your top reasons, maybe reasons you failed in the past. Leave them down in the comments below. One, because of course it's going to get some engagement going. That's really good for the channel and for the video, but also because we can use it as some sort of forum, and like I said, I've done this before in the past and it worked really, really well, where people were saying their reasons they failed or their mistakes that they made. And there was, hundreds of people just, sharing their experiences. And I think that, you can go in here, comment, ask people, read what people say. And, hopefully this video can be more than just myself. It can be all of us, sharing our experiences and the reasons that we may have failed in the past. So that's number 10, and I hope that's not a cop-out, but leave your mistakes, leave your top reasons in the comments below. And if while you're down there, leave a like on the video if you did find any value in this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.